Hey, how's it going today? It's Frankie. I'm here with Funny Fridays, and this movie is called Jexi. I can't just say one thing. Big clap to this movie. Sensational movie right here. This is a proper rom-com right here. This is how a rom-com should be. Just like this, a perfect balance between actual romance scenes and comedic scenes. Absolutely brilliant. And I didn't know it was a rom-com before I watched it. I only watched it because I saw one of the actors from Game Over Man in this movie, which is Adam Devine, or Devine, however you want to say it. I'm going to say Adam Devine for now. I think that's how you pronounce his surname. But yeah, I just had to watch it, and I was like, this should be funny. Oh boy, it didn't disappoint. It was absolutely hilarious. I mean, near the end it got a bit like it steered off a bit, but that's what rom-coms are going to be like. There's going to be romance in it. And I'm not a fan of rom-coms, right? I can't stand them, but I did say as well, I'm not sure if I said it in the video, but I said it to friends, there's bound to be one or two good rom-com movies that I would like out there. This is one of them. This is what a rom-com should be like, not mostly romance and corniness and the character trying to be funny or say something funny when they're not being funny. This right here is actually funny. Let me get straight into it, right? It's about this guy called Phil, and he gets a new phone, and he has an app called Jexi, which is kind of like Siri. And let me tell you one thing, the character voices Jexi is hilarious. It's just brilliant. I'm not going to mention a lot of scenes in full detail. It's an hour and 24-minute movie. It feels like it's longer because there's so much detail into it. I don't think I'm going to remember everything, so I'm going to just go straight into it. This app is basically like it's ruining his life, but at the same time she's actually trying to help him. And when he starts getting the app, he then says, he says something, and she calls him stupid. She then messes around with him, threatens him, even when he was like eating a salad that he didn't want, but she ordered it because she controls the whole of his phone basically. And then she starts going, she says, like, you are an idiot, you're alone, you're by yourself, you have nobody. And then she starts going about adult websites, and she starts talking about those type of videos, right? And they said, I'm gonna put this video up of like, someone's, a guy's balls getting punched. I'm just like, what? And then the alarm comes in. He wakes up and she says, wake up, you stupid whatever. And he goes in the shower, berates him as well there. Then, at his workplace, at a meeting, which by the way, the boss, character in this movie at his job is funny. Right, he could have been a bit more funnier in the scenes he was in, and then Jexi starts talking crap. Well, what is this rubbish meeting? You need to leave. You need to go immediately. Don't this guy's wasting his time. And the boss sort of says, if you don't turn up, I'm going to have a fight with somebody. And it's this woman next to me. And Jexi sort of says, I am betting on $20 for the Asian woman to win. And he just walks out. And then he takes it to the phone store, and he comes across this woman worker. I'm not going to mention the people's names in detail. I'm just going to go straight to it. And she sort of compares him to a crackhead. And then he sort of like gets a new phone. Then he comes back and then tells her, look, something's going on. There's like a malfunctioning system or something. And then Jexi says it's perfect. And then and then the worker sort of says back to him, because he asks about appointments. Jexi talks about an appointment that doesn't exist. Says, oh, you have an appointment to wax your ass. I don't have to swear on this. Ass, it's not that bad. So calm down, YouTube. And then she sort of says that, and he's like, I don't do that or something. And the woman says, you have somebody do that for you? Well, really, you want somebody to shave your, that part? Really? And then she walks up and says, don't come back in here again, or whatever. I forgot what she said after that. And then, especially relationship wise, because he goes on a date with this woman called Kate, who works at a bike store. And then Jexi sort of calls him a loser, sort of says he stays at home or whatever, right? And and sort of says you don't want to stay by yourself in the room, and I'm not going to say the M word or the J word along after. It's called J off basically. I'm going to say like that. And and then because I don't know when she said that. I think she might have said that when the two of his colleagues wanted to offer him to play kickball or something, which is kind of like of another version of baseball but with a football basically. It's very weird. I don't know where that came into it. And then, excuse me, in that scene as well, he gets put down there, and at the end of that scene, because he gets like demoted down or something to the basement, and the old man just says, "Oh, welcome to the comments viewing, B." And then he said, he says the B word. I'm not going to say it. I don't really want to swear on this channel. This is a clean channel, bear man. Apart from the movies and shows I've seen, a lot of them are not as clean, but you know what I mean. And then the date with Kate, he doesn't know how to date basically. He's mostly alone with his phone. And then and Jexi's trying to help him. This is where she tries to help out good here, but she also irritates him, and the date goes a bit bad, but she still has to stay. And then when he goes home, I can't remember when this was after. I don't know if it was after the date or whatever. He sort of walks home, and then he was like, "I could do without my phone for now." He puts the phone in the bin, walks out, and then he has to come back and collect it because you don't have to get home, do you? And he was like, "Nope, I do not." And another scene in the car where she puts him in danger. He drives and says, "We go faster, go right now. Do you not have any balls? I've seen your balls; they look horrible." And he sort of just speeds up, and he's like that, like, what? This app is crazy. I've never seen where he's on a bike and he sort of hurts himself. I mean, I don't think he should have done that. I see why he did it. It makes him feel brave to impress Kate. If he didn't do that, then I don't think Kate would have been impressed. And then another this scene. This is weird. This scene. The oddest thing is this movie. I'm watching it. I don't find it weird because it comes under comedy, and it is, even though it is weird how the app is behaving, it works. I mean, I don't even want to go through this scene. This scene is where, because he went with Kate to like a concert, but then there was no tickets left. They got sold out, so they decided to go through the back, like sneak in. And then they sort of get caught by a security guard, and they have to rely and say they know Kid Carter or something like that, whatever his name is. And then they all get high with him. And then he comes back, because he didn't take his phone. He comes back. And then Jexi says, "Where have you been? You said you'd be back at 11 PM to watch Cupcake Battle," whatever it was called. And then he sort of says, "Oh, so I was having fun with Kate." And then Jexi sort of says, "What does she have that I don't have? I have 300 emojis. I have Pokemon Go. I have this system. Does she have any of that?" Then did a good job with the voice though. And he's like, "What? This app is in love with this guy." I like whoever did the script writing deserves it. I hope they got a raise off that, because that's quality script writing there with how they make it this sort of. It's clever. It really is a clever concept of a comedy, although there's probably other comedies like this out there anyway. And then they sort of apologize to each other. And then she tells her, "Oh, charge me up, that'll make me feel better." He plugs her in, plugs his phone in, and she was just like, "Oh yes, keep, plug me, take you out, I'll plug me back in. Oh yes, I'll keep going." And then he sort of says, "Oh yes, I want to keep doing this. Yes, I want to put in so many of devices in you." I was like, "What is this?" And then there's like fireworks. Excuse me. Fireworks is meant to resemble her, you know what I mean. And then she sort of says, "I have feelings for you." And I was like, "What?" And then eventually he's sort of like, and then he wants to go with Kate, but then, because after he sleeps with Kate, and she just sort of says how she feels good to have ended with her ex-fiance. He sees her with her ex-fiance, and he thinks that something's going to happen. This is the part where I disagree with her, and she was just like, "Why are you so scared of all this? To be a man is, take whatever she said anyway." But then I thought she was going to get back with him too, so I don't blame you for thinking like that. So that's understandable from his point of view. And then Jexi said, "You don't need her, you've got me." But then Jexi was the one that actually put both of them in together. She also did something ruthless where she sent, Kate sent like a cleavage pic to him, and he thought it'd be best to send like D pics to like over 50 of them to her, because he took a lot of pictures. But then Jexi said, "Oh my god, no, this is horrible, why are you doing this?" She won't like that. And then Kate goes, oh, it's great. It's because we didn't send any D pics though. So the thing is, the only thing I find confusing is she tries to. She did ruin him because she did make him lose his job by the D pics that he sent, that he wanted to send to her. Jexi took over and sent it to everybody at his workplace called Chatterbox, which is a good company name, I guess. Yeah, and he got fired. So yeah, but he did take initiative though, to be fair. And Jexi, he did say that he wanted to get Kate back, and Jexi just sort of calmed down after that. And yeah, so but then he starts getting chased by because Jexi's practically everywhere because she's AI basically. So it chases him and goes and destroys the phone shop that he goes to. And she says, we could be together forever and ever and ever. And he just sort of shuts her down. And she's like, what are you doing? The clever thing, I think the reason why she didn't take control of that phone is because that phone wasn't in control of anybody. So he was able to deactivate her. And the woman was still in there, but the woman didn't come out and say anything. And then she goes ahead and says, can I take my break now? That's quality line. That's a typical line. That's the sort of movie. And he sort of fights it up for Kate, but then he finds that Kate actually isn't going to Brazil. And the suitcase, and then he was like, oh yeah, that would explain it. After he punches, I forgot what Bodhi, after he punches Bodhi on the phone, he was like, yeah, okay, that explains everything. Yeah, the suitcase and stuff. And yeah, they get together, and Jexi says, oh, that is good, very lucky, I'm so happy are you with her. And they go to like a concert, and it's just brilliant how everything's orchestrated. And at the end it was kind of nice, to be fair, where he sort of like is in that he does journalism now, and Jexi's on the system. And I thought Jexi was going to be normal, where he starts talking. That would have been nice to have an ending where he starts talking to her and Jexi's just normal, not in like coherent like how she's been. And she apologized for how she's been acting the last month, and she's like, oh, it's been cray cray. And Phil says, oh, I would get cray cray at times. It's just true, I guess. I mean, can't go wrong with that. We can't get crazy sometimes even there. And yeah, so I think he kind of liked her company at the same time. Even though she did ruin his life, I would have been mad at that still. But she did try and help him a little bit. So her meanness was kind of like motivation. Sometimes you need a bit of tough love like that. As I keep saying, it can motivate you, and it's motivated him. And then at the very end, it shows somebody else pick up the phone. I was just like, is this Phil getting a new phone with like a normal Jexi? And it actually ends up being the boss of Chatterbox that actually has that, has a new phone, and that he actually installed Jexi. And he's like, do you want to read the terms and conditions? Do you want to accept them? He just said, yeah, whatever, that's cool. And boom, it just ends. If I missed out any scenes, I heavily apologise, because this is a sensational movie. It's normal to miss stuff out. But the interesting thing about what this movie depicts, I usually do this sometimes in some of these type of videos, some of these movies and shows that I've seen. I usually do this. I compare it to real life, and it just goes to show AI has actually taken over humanity. This is how AI is. People ask AI to help them out. AI it's taken over. It's basically going to be in charge of us. This is what this film is depicting. It's a perfect example of how AI has easily influenced us, and how we need it the most, and how we have to rely on it the most. And that's what it's come down to. I've never used an Alexa, Siri, or those type of apps, right? Because why would you? You could just type and search anything up yourself. You don't really need AI's help for that. And that's for like appointments and stuff. We've got emails to manage, we've got text messages to manage. We need to start doing this ourselves. I love AI. I do think some parts of AI should be used, but not in the way we're using it. And this film also reminds me of AMI, where it's a horror movie. And I thought it could have been a spoof, and it actually isn't, nothing to do with that movie AMI, but it should have been, really. It would have been, it's similar to that, but it's like a rom-com version of that, basically. And AMI, like the woman, I forgot the female character's name in that movie, where she got took over by AI, and AI tried to imitate her mum, basically. So yeah, it kind of felt like that. I got that sort of vibe. I know he had to do was deactivate her, to be fair, but yeah, but what a movie though. There's not really much else for me to say. This I would highly recommend it, right? I know I do apologize if I gave the movie away. This is a must watch, right? So, to be fair, there's no spoilers. It's just how the movie went for me. It's just my review on it. But yeah, I wish I could explain it more because this movie deserves a lot of recognition. But you know what? I've explained the main scenes that I can. If I miss anything, I do apologise. But that's for you to remind me of anyway. If you pick out any other good scenes as well in that movie that you could tell me, just let me know, because this movie is incredible. This gives me hope there's more good rom-coms out there. Thank you, whoever made this movie. Thank you for making it, because you need to make more rom-coms like this, because this is my kind of rom-com. They didn't have too much romance, too much corniness in it, and too much cringe parts in it. They had a perfect balance. And yeah, towards the end, like I said, it died out, but that's normal, right? Towards the end, it's going to be happy and all jolly, unless it's a horror movie, then sometimes it isn't most of the time. But yeah, let me go on to the rating now. Rating for this, I was going to give this a 9, but you know what? Everything is perfect in this movie. And I'm going to start watching more of Adam Devine's movies that he's in, because I've seen his face before, but I probably might not have enjoyed some of the stuff he's been in. I probably didn't notice he wasn't funny, but I'm going to start taking a note of him now. I'm going to start taking notice of the movies that he's in. I'm going to search him up and see what happens, and see what movies I find. And he might even be in shows too, so I'm definitely going to search that up too. And also, Game Over Man had quality script writing too, and I had to mention that movie because Adam's also in it too. So go give that recognition too, because the dialogue in this movie was also phenomenal, brilliant. Acting, the actors, perfect. The concept and idea of the movie, fantastic. Deserve a pay rise, every single one of you. And damn yeah, I'm going to rant a little bit and talk a bit more about this. Please, I need more of these movies. You give me something a bit silly and a bit like what the hell type of movie, but these are the type of movies I love. My kind of movie right here that made me laugh, and it escalates quick. I love it. So yeah, look, I don't know what to say, but I really need to go into rating now. I don't think I've given that number yet. I don't want to forget the number for any type of movie or show. I've done that once though. But yeah, rating for this movie is a solid 10 out of 10. I could not think of a negative. Maybe you could say, oh, the romance part kills it. Yeah, but if it's a rom-com, there's obviously going to be romance. But the rom-coms, I've seen 3 of them prior to this movie. One of them was a wonder pill. I forgot what the other 2 were. But it doesn't matter, right? They were boring because there wasn't any humour at it. There wasn't much. They didn't make me laugh that much, right? There was just mostly romance. But this movie is perfect. There's a great example of how a rom-com should be. And yeah, watch the movie, please, because I think I've got to stop talking now because I'm making this video a bit more long than it should do now. But yeah, this movie deserves to be more than 18 minutes long. So yeah, anyways, that's it with this video. 10 out of 10 is. If you enjoyed the video, please give a like, comment, share for subscribe, hit the notification below. So see you in the next video.